Another exclusive live session with the Hype Magazine.
You need to stop what you're doing. Pay attention.
World famous Hype Magazine. Going down right now.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doby. And today, I've got one of the legendary names in the music game. He is Chris Gotti. He is, you know what I mean?
Jerry, man, thank you for having me, man. Hype Magazine, let's do it.
I appreciate you, man. Look, your history, your legacy, your pedigree is undeniable. The things that you guys have done. We're going to mention Murder, Inc. real quick and move on. But
sure.
You guys have affected and contributed to the fabric of music worldwide. It's undeniable. It's inescapable. And we have to acknowledge that. And so thank you for what you did early on when, you know, hip hop was kind of starting to get organized label wise. And you know what I mean? Breaking artists and giving people an opportunity to feed their families and create generational wealth, which you are continuing to do to this day through your new imprint called Adventures Music, man.
Yes. That's a digital distribution platform. You know, the game changed, so we have to evolve with it. And right now, and there's a need to help all these independent artists that now seem like they came from every which way, from under every stone, around every corner, right? They all are now out here. And that's something that I take a very serious pride in trying to give them the game and passing on some of this information and knowledge that I have and showing them the way that they could go so they could own their business, because I also know these record labels today, the business they're in is a little different than it used to be. Okay.
Then we talked about early on, I mentioned the metaphor of the name. So it's ADD Ventures Music, Adventures. Everybody talks about having multiple streams of revenue. Talk to me about how you came about Adventures.
There's two parts. There's two parts to how I came up with Adventures. First and foremost, I'm adding ventures, businesses together in music. It's that simple. I'm putting business ventures together. So I'm not just a digital distribution platform. We all do it. All the other platforms, Universal, Warner Bros., Sony, all do digital distribution exactly the same. We all do it exactly the same. We may have more outlets than most, but that's just the added value, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, your music gets uploaded and gets to all those DSPs, those digital service providers like Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Just the way Universal would do it, we do it the same way. Just the way TuneCore, United Masters, DistroKid would do it, we do it exactly the same. Now, the part that when I put the ad part, the ADD, is because we do services, right? So think of an independent artist. They don't know, they don't have relationships.
Right.
They don't have the relationships that might be needed, that is needed to actually further their career. If you think of what Universal does for an artist, and I'm always going to use Universal because they're the biggest. I go after the biggest, right? I'm not playing for Universal's the biggest record label in the world. So what independent artists should look at is whatever they do, we should do. Okay, so all you are as an independent artist is a miniature Universal. So Universal has all these relationships, all these businesses, these infrastructures that they use to break artists. How is an independent artist going to get that if they go put their music out with DistroKid? That's just one part of the business, right? And then I use my 30-plus year career in my relationships, and I basically open the door to all these artists so they could utilize those relationships. But it's, again, you're independent, you pay for it. So don't think I'm paying for your business, right? This is your magazine, digital magazine. This is Jerry's business. This has nothing to do with me. I'm here to add a value for you. That's it. And it's the same thing I do with music and adventure music. I add values. I do all the services that you might need down to mixing and mastering, graphic design. I mean, these are all departments that a Universal would have inside of their company,
Right.
right? If you wanted to do any of these services, you in Universal, they take care of it. But that's why they take so much from you. See, artists always complain about how much the labels take, but I could give you the flip side of that coin too. Why they take that? You know, if you want someone to put up all the risk and all of the relationships, and all you did is make the music. Again, I got millions of people that make music, really good music too. There's a difference between what makes one better than the other. It's the marketing of it. It's all these services that I'm talking about.
Right.
And of course, yes, there is a difference in quality of record, but at the highest level is very small.
Right. So
right.
One of the big deals, and I don't make music. I'm not an artist. You know, I did go to college for music business to understand, you know, the questions that I needed to ask when I speak to people like you and artists that are doing the damn thing. But what I, from the outside looking in,
Yes,
see is that a lot of people don't understand that, you know, the marketing department takes a budget, the recording takes a budget, mixing and mastering takes a budget. And if you come into a distribution situation, you have to bring that marketing budget with you.
yes,
You have to bring all that bread that, let's say you got a deal with Universal and you're bitching about a 360, but they're giving you $5 million to create this record.
yeah,
From that budget that they're giving you, you've still got to pay for, you know, it's an advance to pay for your studio time. It's advance to pay for your producers and engineers and make the video. It's not go out and buy a Lambo. It's working capital. They've loaned you working capital.
Yes. It's a long.
Conversely, with an imprint like Adventures, you need to bring your working capital with you.
You have to have it. Yes. And when you say it's a loan, I like to let you know it's a loan with incredibly, terribly bad rates.
No doubt.
That you have to pay back.
It's that payday loan with that 231% interest rate that you getting raped over your call for, man.
You know, I would make jokes and say, it's imagine you going to buy a house, but you pay the mortgage, you pay the bill, but you never own the house. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what music business is. You never own that house. That's theirs. Mm-hmm. But you're paying the note off for them.
I have to ask though, you know, with the big companies, oftentimes the only person that you really deal with is an A&R person or a project manager or somebody who really doesn't get to know you as a business person. Even when you have a label deal, you don't have someone who gets to know you as a business person and as an individual.
Yeah,
you have the advantage through Adventures of being able to put hands-on mentorship with people and help them understand the business and develop a business. Talk to me a little bit about that process.
You know what's crazy? You bring that up, Jerry's. I probably am the only digital distribution company that isn't automated. From a response standpoint, you speak to real people. I have a staff, they respond emails. If you see us, they tell you, they talk to you. Again, think of how hard that is when you're trying to scale, right? And I'm absolutely trying to scale to the highest level. Let's say TuneCore is the biggest digital distribution company. They have over 2+ million independent artists on their platform. So that gives you a little sample size of how many artists there are. And there's other companies that have well over 1 million artists. That's how many independent artists there are out here. I want them all. So how could I scale is the question. And the question that is the biggest challenge, scaling when you're dealing with live people, real time, real opinions and information. not just an automated generated response, but technology, that's what technology is for, so they can scale. I'm not knocking it, but I do know these independent artists have to understand they need more information than they have at their fingertips.
Right.
And really, it's a work in progress. And if they don't put in the work, none of it means anything anyway. Right. They have to understand that they're the owner of their business. They have to understand that no one's going to do it but them. They have to understand it has to get done. They need budgets to get things done. Now, mind you, my job as the CEO of Adventure Music is really to empower independent artists with the lowest level of a service possible, meaning lowest level, meaning at the lowest financial level, cost level, but it still has an effect. Again, so you could get your business, just like any business, you don't start at the top, you build your way up. So you can't be embarrassed if you're only dealing with $100, $200, something. Oatmeal is better than no meal. You have to get started, and you have to get used to the fact that you're paying for your shit. So you might as well start when you can. If it's only $100 that you could afford to do, cool, put it in this, do that, do something with it. It's only for your own benefit. And then you'll start seeing a result. And then when you see what that gets you, maybe you say the next time I need 200, 500, 1,000. You can't, I don't know any business you think you could just walk into and then get these things for free. And this is what most independent artists have, that vibe. Like they expect it to be given to them. But if they want it given to them today, again, they have to be at that level to get a record deal. So I just mentioned TuneCore with over 2 million artists. There's no fucking way in the world Universal, Warner Bros., Sony could sign 2 million artists. Wow. Financially, they'd be broke. Right. Even at $100,000 deal for everybody, they couldn't afford it. Right. So that's the problem. And there's still millions of more that's out there. This is what the reality has to set into these artists, that everyone will not get a deal. I don't care how good you are, how talented you are. It's just what it is. The best artists didn't get record deals. I never think that the best artists have a record deal. Okay, that's just what it is. I feel there's artists out here that I've seen that are super talented that just never got the exposure or the opportunity. Today, in order to get a record deal, if you don't have your numbers up, you cannot get a deal. In Black music, very important. In Black music, if you're a pop artist and you are super talented, they may still take a chance to develop your ass, right? But if you're in Black music, if you're someone with some pigmentation, right? Some color, you better have your numbers up. They're not just handing out these deals to anybody just because of talent anymore. And that's a sad day in music to me, but that's where the labels are at, because it's just risks. Right. They're concerned about the risks, and the risk is once you have numbers, they have a far less risk of losing money with you.
I just looked at a piece, and I wrote a piece on this a long time ago, but I just looked at a fresh piece about several Atlantic music artists who have botted their way, BOTTED, way,
robots,
to numbers, and were just exposed basically and had those numbers stripped. It is like the second time.
Those are Black artists, I'm sure.
And they are.
Okay, so here's the flip side to that coin, right? I always talk about this. So the technology's evolved and changed so they can find it and spot it way easier if it's bots or not. But a very successful artist, white, and I think he's talented. Don't get me wrong. Justin Bieber, he built his business on bots in the beginning, but it turned to real. Right. See, it converted. And, this is something I tell women all the time. I said, see, a female artist has it harder because I never seen a female artist where men chase them around. Like, think of all the little girls that was chasing Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Which which Scooter Braun staged in the beginning, but turned to real. It turned to reality.
Right.
That's what bots need to do. But if you don't convert, and that's what those Atlantic artists had a problem, they didn't turn to reality. Right. So,
right.
But that fake stuff, they have a way of spotting it today. Is harder. You can't sneak it over them. It's easy. These labels got, they get, when you're investing millions of dollars, you're gonna learn fast. You're not gonna just do it and not realize what the real issue is.
Yeah. It was only a few years ago that YouTube stripped a bunch of major labels of their YouTube views.
Yes.
Because, early on, people were just learning how to manipulate the system.
They have cases of people getting locked up
for fraud.
For fraud, because there's real money and it's real fraud. It is real fraud because these sponsors, the brands that are paying for those ads that are in front of your views, that gets you to make the money. The reason why YouTube could pay you is because of ads. Mm-hmm. You have to understand how the business works, then you understand why it's illegal.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of business, what was the biggest surprise about the business part of the music business when you first came on into the world?
Well, the biggest revelation, let's call it, in the music business was that it's designed to steal and rob every artist. Mm. The record industry, the record labels, that's the design of the contracts. That is exactly what their purpose was from the very inception. To take the talent, pay them very short, own everything, and that's their business. And they never really wavered off of that business model. So my whole thing when I go out with Adventures and I do my seminars and I talk to all these people and artists, I said, when was it the right time for the slaves to be let go? It's the same. I have that same vibe with the music industry. When was it the right time for artists to be free? And to me, the answer is now. The right time is now because there's opportunities to do so now. I feel today artists work off the old way, which was the patron of the arts. So the patron of the arts was, if you was a musician back in the day in the 1800s and you was in your village and you played a guitar or whatever it is, that's the town supported you. So you could continue to be that artist, to bring that music. If you was a painter, they paid for you so you could keep painting because they appreciated it. So when I look at streaming companies like Spotify, that's the village. Mm. And that's how you'll be able to pay for your business. You have to get the patron artists. They have to appreciate your art form. It's just so populated today. It's crazy. I was reading something where they say Spotify is uploading over 100,000 songs daily. Mm. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's how much music is out here.
Right.
So to me, it's we used to be quality over quantity. And today it's both. If you don't have quantity with quality, you're in trouble.
I gently disagree with you on the fact of on the point of quality, because there's some flat out garbage that.
No, I didn't say compromise quality. I said you have to have both quality and quantity.
No, what I was saying was that there's a lot of garbage that makes it on into the scene and becomes major hits.
So let me
that's garbage.
Okay, let me say that. That's an opinion. Obviously,
I agree.
Right? So obviously I could sit here and say, obviously it's not garbage because millions of people is fucking with it. Right? So it's just your opinion. And I don't get into opinions. I get into reality. Like if the masses are saying they like it, it's not our job to say it's trash. It's say, okay, exploit it and make your money. Like I have no problem with people making money. We was talking about all of this drill music and this and this. I was at a skating party for kids with Larry, No Limit Larry from Charlotte. Okay. He's on the radio station. Shout out to Madhouse and all of them, Burpee and everyone, and Miss Jessica over there. And it's just he did an event for his birthday with kids, so the parents could bring their kids to skate and everything and roller skate. But when I'm listening to the music, there is no music for kids today.
Fair enough.
Everything is fuck, 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 kill, 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 suck, 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 dick, 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 you know, bust downs. That's all it is. It's ass shaking or killing type music. And that's it.
Right.
And to me, that's sad because there's nothing to play for kids that's popular. See, there might be music that's created that is kid worthy and fine, but the powers that be doesn't make it popular anymore. So
right.
Then that's why it's no longer, when you play, the kids don't even know it because they only know that type of music.
Right.
Singing every word, every song. It's like, damn, let these kids be kids. This is grown folk talk.
Right.
And they don't get it. It's like, and it's sad. And again, it's sad because that music form is gone now. I always make reference to, let's say, a Whitney Houston, an incredible talent, Luther Vandross. These are incredible artists that I grew up listening to, and you know, and today they may not even be a relevant artist, only for the fact that they wasn't socially accepted. Like they didn't know how to get the follows and the likes.
Right.
And it would be sad to say that you would have lost a artist like that. I deal with Ja Rule and Ashanti, right? Shout out Ja and Ashanti. 20 years later, no new music, and they still could fill up arenas and tour, make millions of dollars. Why? Because that music is timeless, because there is no music like it anymore. So there's only one way to get it, and that's come back to Murder Inc., that Murder Inc. sound, and that's the truth. I'm watching it, and I'm watching the audience. I watched the audience when it was very light. We was, you know, they was going and doing shows, and they're doing 5,000. They're back to arenas and 20,000 and 50,000 overseas. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm watching the audience. It's getting younger again.
Yeah.
Which is completely amazing to me, but it's understandable when you break down the landscape of this music business and where everything's at. And that's, to me, the challenge. That's the challenge and the problem. But, you know, and people say, how? It's the powers that be. These record labels, they're the bosses still. They still control what's going on. They control the narratives.
Right.
So, but the kids is only finding this type because this is what's getting pumped and spent millions of dollars in marketing on. You know, jazz is a dead format of music. It's like, what? R&B is damn near going to be dead as well. How many R&B artists do you hear that's really, just give me, don't count Chris Brown. Right? Yeah. And I'm just saying, because he's already established. Give me the new up-and-coming R&B guys. There's no one that the labels even care about to push because they can't get the likes and follows of the audience. So it's just business at that point. They don't want to spend the money on it if it doesn't have the return. And we would all do the same thing in our business if that was the case. We would pivot and change. So that's why they have to die. That's why record labels have to not exist anymore, because they can't control the narrative anymore. And then they still rob and steal because that's the design of record labels. Here I am, Murder Inc., and I'm telling you that's the design of record labels. So when you ask me that question, that is the biggest thing I learned. I didn't know music. I learned it. And when I learned what it's really about, I never dealt with an A&R. I only dealt with CEOs in my whole career. So at the end of the day, I'm getting educated from their point of views. Mm-hmm. And when I hear it, it's ugly, it's gruesome. It's like, man, I started Adventures in 2009. Let's put that in perspective.
Wow.
2009. I didn't have it. The name when I wrote my business model was not Adventure Music. It was called Who Cares Music Group.
Wow.
And the reason I called it Who Cares is because I care. I seen how the devious ways these lawyers and executives deal with artists and how they take the money. You know, we was a 50-50 joint venture. So we're partners with the label. So when I fought for Ja Rule and I fought for Ashanti and I fought for Lloyd for their deals, the words that these CEOs came back with gave me my education of why it's not meant to be. They would, and I'm talking about the top of the top. I'll name his name, Doug Morris. He was the boss of Universal Music Group, which means every label under him had to report to him. And he would say, fuck Ja Rule, fuck Ashanti. Go get another artist and they'll take the deal we're going to give them.
Damn.
And if I'm fighting for getting them 5 million, he's like, no. If I'm fighting to get him 10 million, he was saying no. He would look at me and Irv and say, you're my partner. Why am I fighting with you? Like, they have nowhere to go. Don't give them the deal. They're gonna, when they get broke, when they're sitting there broke, they'll come back and take whatever we give them. That was the mindset. And that is 1000% real today, still. And again, these CEOs that when you hear Dame Dash talk culture vulture and everything, I get it. He's not lying. Shout out Dame, that's my boy too, man. He's not lying. And again, he's now on the independent wave. He was Rockefeller. Right? The difference is Murder Inc. for sure, Rockefeller for sure fought for their artists, not worrying about our profit for the label. And that makes us very different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You never heard one of our artists on Murder Inc. complaining about their deals. Why is that? Everybody has problems with their artists, everyone. I say Cash Money's the best, but Little Baby and Little Wayne, and Baby and Wayne,
Slim,
who's his father, his daddy was stealing. It's not cool. It's real, and it's like, yo, that you heard stories for that. I'm like, everybody had problems with their labels, except Murder Inc. So again, it's a testament to who we are as people, as men, me and my brother. At the end of the day, that's how I look at it. But when you asked that question, that was a great question because that was the eye-opening part of the music industry. For me, that was the main thing because I came from the construction world. So I had to learn music. I worked construction and music simultaneously for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years before I stopped doing construction. I owned my own construction company. We was doing millions of dollars in construction, me and my sister. We was doing jobs for 10, 20 million, 50, $40 million. That was our biggest job in construction. So at the end of the day, I was making tons of money already in construction. I had a crew of about 37 man, almost 40 man crew, and it was all Black owned. And we was out there working and getting shit done. And I still got things built in New York that I'm part of. But at the end of the day, I come back to Irv and he's like, come over and run his production company. So I have to learn the business. I'm selling beats, but I got to know how we make money. That's why the education for me is everything. I learned that on the fly. I didn't go to college for this shit. I learned on the fly. We was taken advantage of by lawyers and accountants multiple times. But when you lose your own money, you learn fast.
Yes, sir.
And we lost a lot of money. I spent millions of dollars in music that I've lost. That's my education. So it's way more expensive than, let's say, Harvard Business School. But
no doubt.
At the end of the day, this is the path that I had to go through. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to college. But these are the real educations, real life. Yeah. And then, like I said, talking to and then physically doing and being there. I mean, the wealth of knowledge, the amount of artists I dealt with and spoke to, producers. I mean, I don't think there's another executive at my level that has dealt with more artists than me or producers than me.
And that's, I think, is one of the differentiators about Adventures and the others, is that you got the real world experience. That's the tagline for the university that I went to: real world education, real world experience, right? But you really did it, coming from an entirely different industry.
Yeah.
And immersed yourself in a brand new industry. Business is still business, the basic concepts.
Number one,
business is still business. But you entered something that was more cutthroat than global politics.
I've been involved in two of the worst businesses that I've been, and I've been involved with a ton of businesses in my career. I'm 55. I'm not no young kid.
Right.
Always owned businesses, invested in things. only early on in my teens when I had a job. I worked every kind of job because in the beginning, then I was working jobs, but really out on the street doing things, making money. But it was just crazy. And again, it was just a crazy time that I grew up in. But what I get to tell everyone is when you do it yourself, you learn so much more. When it's yours, your money, your risk, your reward, you learn, and you learn fast.
Yeah. And in your situation, I feel the situation that you provide, they get a chance to learn the business, each aspect, hands on.
Yes. That's why I come to everyone's city. I do a tour. I'm about to set up another tour coming top of the year. I just finished the 8-city tour just now. I'm probably going to do a 20+ city tour coming from the West Coast back to New York.
Okay.
Now, what that means is I'll be in my Sprinter, driving from state to state to state, city to city to city until I get back home from a West Coast tour. So I'm going to hit a lot of cities, a lot of people, and you're going to get to talk to me physically. So that's why it's so important to pull up on my events, because I'm physically there and I don't leave until it's done. I'm not there just the money is not the issue. I don't make the money this isn't a money grab. I'm not hustling nobody. I'm really here to empower the people.
Once again, I have to just take the time to thank you for your
Thank
leadership. Because our new people, our new youngsters, our next generation of youngsters that are going to get into the business need to understand, and the business part, avail themselves of tools and resources that can make them successful business people.
Right.
Because they're not only responsible for themselves, but for those who come along with them.
You know how that, Jerry, again, I just said something about myself, right?
Yes, sir.
I said that my learning, my doing was the best thing.
Yeah.
So again, I didn't have a me for me, if that makes sense. I didn't have someone teaching me anything. So I had to do it the hardest way. Someone told me, man, you took the hardest path to get to the levels of success you could have to make it. And I was like, man, when I sat back and said, you're right. And I sit there and say that to say, if they don't want to come and see me, like these young kids, they have their own mind, they have their own thing. It's okay. More than likely it's going to be a very rough path because no one's giving you the knowledge. Today, there's so much information out here for them. They could get a lot of information and knowledge, whether they go online or whatever. But no one's like, when I physically pull up, people say, you could do it online. It's indirect, it's impersonal.
Mm-hmm.
It's still the best thing is in person. Even this interview, I would have loved nothing better than we could have did it live somewhere, me and you talking, shook your hand. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's a different effect. I know we're in a digital age. It's all right. I'm still old. Let's say there's still nothing better than that one-to-one connection. There's nothing more powerful. I learned that in marketing years and years ago. It still has not changed. But the reality is I can't market one-to-one to tens of millions of people where I could do it like that digitally. Right. So it's a combination of what I do. I have to take the physical side of it and the digital side of it and merge it. And that's what's going to make adventure music the only place these artists is going to be able to go.
I love it. I've always been a fan of face-to-face sit-downs, man-to-man, shake the hand, etc. You know what I mean? I'm 59, retired military, and
thank you for your
no thanks, Didi. Everything I've ever done in my career there has been face-to-face, man-to-man.
That's right. But they have, we have to, as the OGs, like you're 59, we're the OGs. So at the end of the day, we have to, and I tell this to all the older people that we deal with, that's the OGs in their space, because there's a lot of resentment or seems like, or negative to the youth. And I never give the youth any negative. Why? First and foremost, when you have kids, you learn so much. I got kids, so I watch them. Right. I know them. And the next part is, it's their time. It's not ours.
Agreed.
That's the reality. It's their time. It's their world. when people say they think it's cliche, the children are our future. No, that's the truth.
Yeah.
That is the truth. So it's like it's about helping them. As an OG, my job is to help them do it faster than I did it, do it better than I did it. That's evolution.
Right.
Or else we're stagnating. Because believe me, everyone else is doing that. We have to take that same approach.
Yeah.
You know, again, my what else with adventures? Again, I accept all, but this is about Black and brown. It's about empowerment. I'm about to go to Africa, Lagos. They calling me to come out to do my seminars out in Africa for all the Afrobeat artists and things like that. They have an emerging new market now with all these artists.
Yes.
That have no way of getting a deal. So I'm going out there to start educating them and giving them adventure music and showing them they could use this distribution platform. And again, I'm always a front runner, a forward thinker, and I watch all these other companies, and I know they watch me and they move my movements, but we'll see what happens. I still way ahead of them as far as thinking wise is concerned, and I have no problem. I'm a competitive person, so I'm sure Nike had no problem with Adidas, right?
Yeah,
That's something as an old guy we was taught wrong, because we was taught you had to be the one. Yeah. And we're the only culture that you have to be the one. All these other businesses, there's more than one, and they're all thriving and doing fine. But in our space, we have to be the one. They made you either like Ja Rule or like 50 Cent. That is complete bullshit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how I look at it. I like some of 50's records. I'll be a fool to say I would be lying if I said no.
Right.
Good music is good music, and that's what they made. They would pit us against each other, and we fell for those fucking tricks.
But it's been that way for hundreds of years with us.
Yeah.
It's a purpose. It's part of the chains and images of psychological slavery that we still suffer under. So,
man, that psychological slavery is so huge. It's huge. The effect, what they did, the cause, man, I'm telling you, this is part of the adventure music in my passion. This is not, this is something I've been doing forever since like I said, my construction company was all Black. And they couldn't believe we was out there doing the work. And minority business, they got to give us X%. That's how we was getting a lot of the work.
Right.
I had to go to a Jewish person, Kenneth Frolic, to put up the money because I didn't have the money. You had to bond these jobs. These are all city jobs. This wasn't like I'm building a house. I built houses, but this was, when I started, it was all city work. Low bid, you had to bid on jobs, then you go do it. And we did. And it was an all Black owned, Black and woman owned company. And it was me and my sister's company, and all Black men doing concrete work. They could not believe it. We picked concrete because it's one of the biggest parts of every job.
Every job.
Just think of all of the high rises in New York. They got to pay a concrete company to come pour that concrete. Yeah. And they had to give away X% of it to a minority owned business. So we fit both voids. A lot of those companies was, again, this is part of our problem, is our people was, maybe you, like one of I won't use you, another Black man might have started a company, and then these white owned companies would just use him as a shell company to get all the money and then pay him. So he eats, but no one else eats. He would make money, but the company that was using to run that business, so they looked like they was giving out minority business work to these minority owned companies. Right. That's all it was a front. It's a shell. And they still do that to this day.
Yeah, I agree.
But when they've seen my company, above all contracting, right? And they seen all Black faces, and these inspectors would come out to the job and ask where's the boss? And they would point to me, but I'm in the hole digging right next to everybody else. So I was in the machine, operating the machines. And they was like, no, where's the boss? And they point, all the workers was like, it's Chris. And they couldn't believe it. And they would say, "Where's your supervisor?" They would ask me for my supervisor. I said, "Well, when you hire your supervisor, tell them to come talk to me, because these are field guys. These are nobody. I'm dealing with their bosses, again." And at the end of the day, they would get mad as hell. But then they realized, oh shit, it's a fucking black guy that owns this shit and runs it. They couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. And I was young as hell.
Yeah.
I was in my early 20s. Like, come on, you couldn't. Yeah.
Congratulations. I got to remind you about your schedule. You got a tour.
No, I got it. I'm on with you.
Okay, I want to respect it.
I got my clock up.
I feel you. I just want you to know, brother, that I would love to be your friend in this and help any way that I can editorially.
Sure.
To make
You're a service. I already know how you could help. You're a service provider. So I have all with Adventure Music, I always look for service providers. So you have a digital magazine. How often does your magazine go?
We do digital every month, but I update every day.
Right, but so again, I would tell these artists all the time, if they want to be on the cover of a magazine, because they all want covers, right? And I said, there's only 12 people picked in a year out of how many?
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking about Adventure, you're talking about thousands of artists that want that same slot.
Right.
So, but interviews, you need content.
Oh, I have no lack of content.
Yeah.
I get 200 pitches a day, but that's been 20 years. We're 20 years in the game. So,
right.
There was a time that nobody would even talk to us.
Yeah, I'm going to give you what I did with Hip Hop Weekly.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that magazine, Hip Hop Weekly.
I did with them, yes.
It's actually Benzino and Dave Mays. After they saw us, they took the source. If I told you the true story, they basically jacked my brother for that idea, but it's all good. Because Irv was looking at, you go in our office and he had People magazine, Us magazine, and all those white magazines, but it was all us, all the celebrities. He said, we need this for Black. And then they made Hip Hop Weekly. It was that's exactly the creation. Dave and Ray was in our office, and that's how they came up with Hip Hop Weekly. So when they did that, what I told them is I need a section. And I said, I need it for artists. So there should be a section in, if it's not already, in the Hype magazine for artists. Meaning, and then I would love to be the one that says, here's this artist, this artist, this artist, this artist, to get interviewed, to get their story in the magazine under that section.
I can make that happen. I'm the guy to talk to.
I know you can. Again, and then how I look at it is just these artists are going to actually promote you. So it works both ways. If that's part of the deal, they have to promote their interview, post the pictures, and that should get you some more traction.
Yeah.
Or people that you don't have, right? It should open you up to more people. That's all.
Always looking to expand. We've outlived a lot of people in this past 20 years. In 2002, we started out as a one-page community newsletter. And 2004, we took the #1 digital spot, as the internet was really coming on board. And when 2009, when the internet really went public, that was their ass.
And that's when I had written my first business model. See that? 2009, that's the year.
And we're here. So look, I want to thank you. I once again want to express my appreciation for your service and your contribution to the fabric of the music community worldwide. The new venture that we're talking about, it's not new. It was written about and manifested in 2009 from his mind.
It went 2000. That's when I manifested, and it was a different name. Who cares? And it was rhetorical because I care, right? And that was after seeing all of this, the slimy ways these record label execs move. And then I didn't launch Adventure Music till 15. See, 09, I was way early. I seen it. I had the foresight to know it was there, but it wasn't ready. It's still fully not ready. As many artists as there are, to fulfill the full vision of it is still not ready yet. I'm still in front of the time. And timing is the number one reason all businesses succeed. So I'm waiting. I'll wait it out and keep pushing and moving forward. And then it's going to hit that pinnacle. And when it's time, it's going to take over everything.
Well, I'd love to work it out with you from the editorial standpoint. I'm here. We're open and definitely excited to do that. That's kind of how we made our bones. And would love to continue working and would love to work with you. So, all right, everybody, the Hype Magazine Live Sessions, Chris Gotti, the one and only. This lion right here is at the forefront of things that make things shake. And he opens doors, provides tools and resources and opportunities for people to have their own business, create their own generational wealth, and understand how to mop the floor as well as sit at the board table in their own business. Ventures is the joint, man. All right. Thank you so much. Hype Magazine Live Sessions, Chris Gotti, we out.
All right now. Thank you, Jerry.
Shout out Michael Hudgens for putting it together. I appreciate you.